Hello everyone, I am starting my 12 Days of Christmas series. It's giving me a good chance to play with my Christmas stamps and sets before I put them away. And I'm trying to focus on ones that are retiring. So if you haven't seen it, the retiring list has come out. So out of our, hang on, I'm just grabbing my catalog real quick. Out of our holiday mini catalog, they have announced what is carrying over and what is retiring. So today I'm playing with this Sweetest Christmas. So these wonderful candy canes and the banners that go with them are all retiring. The sequins, which I loved, I would have used on this project if they weren't retired already. They're gone. They're sold out. Hopefully the rest of this is still available. I did not check today before filming this. But I'm going to try and give you some ideas with these Christmas sets. So if you have them already, you have some more ideas. If you don't have them, it's not too late. You might not get them in time to do much this year with them for Christmas, but you could definitely use them next year. The other thing I'm going to try and do is tell you something that would be a good gift to give a stamper. So this is something you can pass on to family members. You can always reach out to me through email if you want to, if your family member wants to buy you a gift card, we can do that. Today, what I'm focusing on is vellum. It is such, and so you can just see there's some right here. It is such a nice way to just add a little bit of extra texture, or if you need to soften something, you can do that. We have two in our annual catalog. I'm trying to give you ideas of things in the annual catalog so you don't have to worry about them selling out, before Christmas. We have two ways to get vellum. This is, let me see what it's called, Lovely Layers, and it goes with a stamp set, and it has printed vellum. Let me get that out of the way. So it has some printed vellum that you can lay over things or stamp behind. It has like 3 different patterns. Just get all of them out so you can see them. So it's got those 3 patterns, but then it also has a bunch of just plain vellum in the back. I mean, a bunch. And that's what I used on this. Since I was just die cutting some small things, I just used this. Now, the other thing we have, this one is a little bit flimsier, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it is a little bit. We have our 8.5 by 11 vellum cardstock, and it's a little bit thicker, a little bit sturdier than this vellum. They both work fabulously for all kinds of things. So let me show you. Get this out of the way and this out of the way. So one of the things you can do with vellum that is really fun, let me see if this will show it better, is you can do embossing. So you can take an embossing folder and run the vellum through that, and so it kind of makes it white where it's embossed. And so this is, I took a piece of that small vellum, cut it in half, and then if you layer it over another color, then it kind of softens that color, and then you can make a card with it. So that's what I used it for here. So that's just vellum layered over. And this is a brand new celebration stamp set. So there's a little sneak peek for you of what's coming in January. So that's my item for today that you can give crafters is vellum. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this suite. I used almost everything in the suite, I think. It has 2 bundles. So it has this Christmas banners, which has a bunch of fun greenery, and then of course has these banners and the sentiments that you can put in them. And then it has the dies that will cut out the banners, or the stamped greenery, or some just extra accent greenery, which is what I used on my card. So that's the first bundle. The second bundle is the candy canes. So it has this fun stamp set with more sentiments. And then dies. This is a really fun one, and I used it I copied from the catalog, and I'll show you how I did that. And then this will cut out the candy canes and the leaves that you can stamp, and then a nice label for sentiments. And that cuts holes in it so you can thread ribbon through it, or like they showed in the catalog, pull that back out for you, you can actually thread candy canes through it. So you can see here they just used that label, stamped something on it, added a bow and a little stamped leaf, and threaded a candy cane. So what a great little treat for teachers or something. So that is the stamps and dies. Then also is, I'm trying not to lose all my pieces over here. Let me move them. The Designer Series paper, which if you've been around Stampin' Up, you know they have beautiful Designer Series paper. It's two-sided. So this is all candy striped themed. But you could use the red and green with any Christmas, and you could use the red for Valentine's. And then there's another side, of course. And these ones you could use for anything. Same with that. And then there's one more piece of paper that I have just scraps left because I've used a lot of that one. But I did want to point out this paper, and this is where our candy canes came from today in today's card. The dies will cut out these candy canes. So they're really, Stampin' Up's been really good about giving us paper that our dies can cut out. Another thing in this whole suite is this ribbon. Now this ribbon is carrying over, which is nice. It's a really nice, it's a 2-pack. I'm just trying to get the red out. A really nice, I don't know if they call it a linen ribbon or it doesn't say. But it's really a nice, it's an easy ribbon to tie. So you get garden green and real red in 1 pack. That is carrying over, so you don't have to worry about that going away right away. And I think the last thing to show you, like I said, the sequins are sold out, so I can't show you those, is this glimmer paper. And I used just a little bit. This is probably going to be really sparkly for you. Yeah, good. You can see how sparkly it is. So it's real red and white. And let me see how many pieces come in this pack. 8 pieces, so you get 4 of each. And so I used just a little bit of the red right there. All right. So that is everything that comes in that suite. So let's make our card. So I've already done all the die cutting, so you wouldn't have to watch me do all of that. Well, I say that, not quite all the die cutting, because we do need to do our sentiment. So let's do that first. Let's get all of our pieces out of the way. We will try not to lose any of them. And I have the outline, and I learned something important with this. There is a right and a wrong way to stamp the sentiment. So I made it, and I stamped Merry, and then Christmas won't fit in here. So there is one side that's a little bit longer and one that's shorter, so you have to be sure you have it turned the right way. So just so you don't make the same mistake I did. All right, and since this is photopolymer, I'm going to get my foam pad out so it will stamp better. And we'll stamp our outline first. So I'm using real red ink. And it will stain your photopolymer stamps, but it doesn't hurt anything. When you clean it off, you'll still see some pink there, but you can stamp with another color and it won't bother it at all. Now I've learned, I'm grabbing my cut and emboss machine, my mini cut and emboss machine. I will tell you, there's a new one of these coming out in the new catalog for if you join. So if you're not already a Stampin' Up demonstrator and that's something you're interested in, you can get one of these for like $30. I'm going to scoot you up just a little bit so you're not right on top of that machine. Oh, I think I brought too many folders, too many plates over. All right, so I have learned if I'm doing something like this, if I'm going to color something I'm in die cutting or stamp some more on, do the die cutting before you finish it. Make sure this is going, see, that's not the right way. Let's go this way. Because that way, if it slips while you're cutting, you haven't also, now in this case, it's just stamping 2 words, so it's not a big deal. But if I had done a lot of blend work on something, I'm actually going to use a piece of Post-it. So this is some Post-it tape. It'll just hold that, and I won't have to worry about it sliding as I run it through. Just gotta get it started. Whoop! It's hard to do without my little non-stick thing on here. Hang on, let me try it this way. Well, come on. It just wants to slide instead of going through. There we go. I usually have a non-stick thing when I have my big cut and emboss machine up here, and I didn't have that up here for that one, so that made it a little bit trickier. All right. So now we can just take this Post-it tape off. And I always flip my plates every time after I use them. And it just helps keep them from getting warped. All right. Put my die away before I forget it or lose it. All right. So now we have, get our paper back and our foam. So now we have our, oh, left a little residue. I've never had to do that before. Our banner. So we just need to make sure we do, I think this is the long one. So I'm stamping the sentiment in garden green. So I'm going to do the Christmas first, since I know I have to put it on the right one. And yep, that's the right one. It'll fit there. Because you can see, maybe you can see through there, it won't fit on there. And then we have Mary. So that one will just stamp right in there. And then while I have my ink out, somewhere I have, here it is, I'm going to stamp the sentiment I put on the inside. So since this garden green is a dark, then I put a piece of basic white on the inside. And so we'll go ahead and stamp that while we have our ink out. There we go. And the this sentiment came from the candy cane set, the sweetest candy cane. The Merry Christmas came from the banner set. So it's good to have both of them to get all of the sentiments and everything. Okay, so we are ready to start assembling. So I have a piece of garden green. So this will be our card base. Oh, I should put this on my list of things every crafter needs. And I'm going to grab so this silicone sheet is great if you're doing glue and you're afraid it might get on your work surface, because it won't stick to this. So let me show you the trick they did. Well, I can just show you on my card. So you can see how it has this fun crosshatch in the background. And like I said, this was copied from one of the cards in the catalog. So they cut 2 of these, and then they flipped one over. So then you have that nice crosshatch. So I took the top one and I used liquid glue on pretty much everything. And I started on one thing. I was like, no, I can't do that because it's not going to be, it's going to make a mess on the other side. So I'm just going to do the corners for right now, just to glue these 2, and then some on this side. So just to glue these 2 together, we'll just put some glue on the corners. And then I can lay this down on here, this down on top of it. And the other nice thing about using the liquid glue is that it gives you a little bit of time to adjust it if you need to. Then you just hold it for a minute until that glue grabs. And then you can turn the whole thing over. See, there's some glue that came out. And now you can put glue on the side things too. So I put it just on these big ones. And I've got it on my mat. So we'll pick this mat up before we try and glue this down. And then you can go on these cross ones too. Just so they all, that way you don't have to worry about not having glued the middle of these two pieces together. Okay. So let's move that because I don't want that on the back of my card base. So now we just turn this whole thing over. And I love this tone on tone. Again, hold it for just a minute to let that glue grab. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and put the inside while we're doing this. Make sure, there we go. And if you don't want to write a lot on your inside, then you can put that, more in the middle. If you have more to write, you can put it towards the top. So you can just move your sentiment. If all you want just to sign it, then you can do that too. All right. So now let's bring all of our pieces in. Let's see if I can do it this way. Trying to be sure I stay on camera. So we have our sentiment. Oh yeah, I have to do one more thing before we're ready to assemble. This is Pool Party, which is one of the colors in that candy cane. I have 3 of the vellum greenery things, 2 of these red ones, and then I have this piece of designer series paper. So let's put it on first. We're just going to put it in the middle of this. And to get one. So on this Pool Party, they seemed kind of plain. So I added, and this probably won't show up on camera very well, but I added Wink of Stella. So this is a magic pin that has glitter in it. And so you just paint it on anything. Well, I don't know if I've used it on things other than paper, and it makes it sparkly. So I'll hold these up, but usually it doesn't show up very well on camera, but in person, I guess I could scoot you back down a little bit. In person, it's very shimmery. It just doesn't, you can't really see it, but in person, it's got nice shimmer on it now. All right. So what I want to be sure is that all of my ends to my greenery bits tuck behind this. And this will come down a little bit so you can see the designer series paper. So I think what I did first is I figured out where I wanted my candy canes. And I think I want them a little more crossed than I did on mine. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in the middle because I want to be able to tuck things behind them. And then I'll kind of just lay this on here. I'm not going to, whoops, try not to get glue on it. I'm not going to adhere it yet, but I want to be able to just kind of figure out where I'm going to tuck. And so I just used liquid glue on the base of these. I like it when I'm doing cards like this, and I'll put just a little bit up here. I'm trying to get some out, but not a glob, to leave the top of it free. So I want this guy to tuck in right here, I think. Yep, that'll work. And then I'll do a vellum on top of him. And the vellum, you do want to be sure you keep it kind of down where it won't be seen, because adhesive does show through vellum. So that should still be okay. I'm probably going to get gluey fingers out of this. All right, let's do our vellum on this side. Oops. Good thing I didn't drop it after I put glue on it. That would have been a mess. All right, again, just kind of put our, so I know about where I want that. And then I can always lift this up if I want that vellum to go behind it. And then our other blue one is going to go down in the bottom. Aren't you glad I did all the die cutting beforehand so you didn't have to watch me do all that? So we'll have this about there. Yep, that'll work. Hopefully I left room for my bow. We'll see. And then this on top of that. I want it to go down like that. All right, and then I'm going to lay this on here again. So I think that looks good. And then we just have these two red sparkly greenery bits. And I know greenery isn't really red sparkly, but this is a Christmas card, so you can do what you want. And I'll just tuck that down in there. Oops. I think I'm going to try putting the other one down with the, whoops, that's plenty. Down here instead of up there, I think. There. All right. Now let's put our banner on. Yeah, I think we'll still be okay. So with this, I'm going to use dimensionals, regular sized, not many. Dimensionals to put it on over all those layers. So I'll just put 2 dimensionals on, so it can kind of span that whole thing. And then just put it so it's kind of centered over the designer series paper, and make sure it covers all your ends. So already that's cute, but let's add a little bow right to the bottom of it. And the easiest way to add bows like this is with a glue dot. So, and I take my glue dots, in case you're wondering why mine are on the side they're supposed to be on. I take my glue dots when I use one up and I wind them so they're on the right spot, because I just can't handle them being on the wrong side. It's too hard for me. It's possible, but all right, so there you go. There is our first day of Christmas card with the sweetest candy cane suite. And we used almost everything in the suite, I think. And again, a great gift for a stamper is vellum, either the small like this, or the larger like this. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and stay tuned tomorrow for another day of Christmas. Bye.